Thanks, Elaine. Mexico's lower house of Congress is mulling over the latest reform initiative coming from President Enrique Pena Nieto's administration. This one aims to increase the amount of taxes the government collects. Franc Contreras joins us now live from Mexico City. And Frank, increasing taxes, as we all know, is never very popular among voters. Why is Mexico's president attempting what could be seen, of course, as a very politically risky move?
That's right, Anand. Enrique Pena Nieto is clearly staking his presidency at a very early stage here on his ability and his administration's ability to pass sweeping reforms that he says would help Mexico's economy. Now, at this stage, the Mexican government gets about 40% of its income from the state-run oil company, Pemex. And as you know, Anand, Mexican President Pena Nieto would like to open Pemex to profit sharing and technology sharing along with foreign companies. Doing that will probably mean a decrease in income for the government, so it's got to look elsewhere, namely taxes.
Mexico has long been considered a tax haven for foreign companies, which get tax breaks in exchange for job creation. But with Mexico's economy expected to grow less than 2% this year, President Enrique Pena Nieto says his sweeping tax reform proposal would bring billions of dollars for government social programs. He promises no tax hikes on basic items like food and medicines.
The budget reform is an integral reform that will allow for the creation of a just, simple, and transparent system.
Each year, Mexico gathers less than 11% of its yearly economic output in taxes, one of the lowest tax collection rates among developing nations.
Unfortunately, Mexico has a bad record when it comes to tax collection. Citizens say they have many reasons for not wanting to pay their taxes.
Truthfully, as a Mexican citizen, I just don't make enough money to be able to pay taxes. It seems like we make more and more, but the raises are minimal and taxes continue to rise and rise.
Capital gains from the Mexican stock exchange would also be taxed, as would soft drinks. Business analyst Eduardo Garcia says under Peña Nieto's plan, foreign companies would also pay higher taxes, but he says they stand to benefit.
I think foreign companies have the attitude that if their taxes are seen in better roads, for instance, in their cases where they transfer goods outside, better ports, better air services, better engineers that they can hire within the country because the education level will improve, I think they'll be willing to pay for those higher taxes.
With changes in Mexico's tax code on the horizon, many Mexicans are demanding less government corruption.
The government needs to be more transparent with us so that we know exactly where our tax money goes.
So far, the Peña Nieto administration has said little about how it plans to achieve that.
Frank, when we look at these proposed changes to the tax code, it would appear the Mexican government is trying some kind of politically shrewd move because they don't want to upset social movements, people calling for social change. Is that the case?
That is the case indeed, Anand. As you know, as we've been reporting here on CCTV, there have been a number of social movements, teachers in the streets for weeks and weeks protesting reforms in the education sector, and now the former presidential candidate from the left, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, out in the streets with tens of thousands of people over the weekend protesting against these energy reforms. They think of oil as a symbol of Mexican sovereignty, so they don't want to see it turned over to foreign companies. And so there was a lot of criticism from all of those sectors, people believing here that there are so many Mexicans who are poor that Mr. Peña Nieto was going to step forward with taxes that would actually end up hurting the poor. And so by coming out with taxes that actually increase up to 32% for the upper middle class Mexican sector of the economy, well, he basically stole their thunder. That's what the president's done here, and it shows that he's quite an astute political player at this stage with so many reforms on the table here in Mexico, Anand.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Franc Contreras there from Mexico City.